Sherine Tadros is live for us in Cairo. So, Sherine, condemnation all round from all fronts and a call for an investigation. What is it likely to find at this stage?
Well, the very fact that an investigation has been called for is at least some good news for people here who feel really that the military haven't been very interested in finding out who is behind the events of Sunday night. Now, we heard from the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, we heard that statement. They very much deflected the blame to what they're calling spoilers, these people trying to drive a wedge essentially between the army and the people. Now, there was a very similar statement by the Coptic Church talking about infiltrators during the march, making the point that Christians were not the instigators, they weren't armed, this was a peaceful march and they didn't fire any shots. And that's really in reference, Jane, to the continued coverage on state television here, which through the night and even through this morning very much had a subtle message to it, trying to tell the general population that in fact the Christians were the ones that were behind this violence and they were the ones in fact shooting at the soldiers. They, in fact, state television was talking about the soldiers who had died as martyrs and the protesters who were killed as civilians. So it was sending a very potent message. And of course the fear here is that that kind of reporting and that kind of message out to the millions of people here who tune into state television will stoke the kind of sectarian tension and the kind of and bring up all those sectarian divisions that we've seen in the past.
Sherine, there's a Coptic service underway, I believe, at the Al-Abbasiyya, or in the Al-Abbasiyya section of Cairo. I should imagine that, they're trying to tell those who've been affected not to worry, that this can only get better. This is a real concern for the country, isn't it? Concern that there are going to be divisions, which you touched on, between the military and the people, between sectarianism, between different sects, and this could obviously impact on the forthcoming elections.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we are now days away from the opening of registration for candidates to go and register for these elections. The elections themselves meant to kick off on November 28th, just weeks ago. It's not a very conducive climate right now to free and democratic, fair elections, and that's certainly a worry. You mentioned there Abbasiyya, that is the main Coptic cathedral where Pope Shenouda III, the Coptic Pope, has his residence, and we understand that he himself is leading these funerals and these prayers, something that we really haven't seen in the past. He is, of course, a very old man, and he very well respected by the Coptic community, and the fact that he himself is leading these prayers will certainly send a very strong message out to the whole of the Coptic community about what a sad day this is. The Coptic community also calling on Copts throughout the world to fast for the next 3 days, starting tomorrow, in mourning for those who have lost their lives.
Thank you for that, Sherine Tadros. Let's speak to Yasmin.